Okay, friends, we're in for another treat. We have so many treats here, huh? Come on. I mean, geez. Great inspirational reading and music, and now we have a message that is going to introduce you to living an amazing life. Huh? How about that? And it's going to be given by Reverend Jan Limberg Morgan. All right, Jan, come on up.
May I have a seat? May I have a seat? Wow. I titled my talk, Living an Amazing Life. And we've already lived 35 minutes of amazing in this room today. And before we came in here, we were outside doing our prayer circle, and Lisa gave the most amazing prayer treatment for us, which had me, okay, I need to come down. May something I say this morning find a place in your heart, that it might go with you and nourish you. I know you have heard this quote before, but bear with me. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people don't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us. It's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. You know, there's nothing in Marianne Williamson's statement that's new. Marianne asks, who am I to be gorgeous, brilliant, talented, fabulous? And she answers her own question. Who are we not to be? We're children of God. Our playing small does not serve the world. You know, as tiny children, it's natural to be amazed at all new things we encounter. Everything is new. Visualize the face of a baby. And I know you've all had a baby somewhere in your life. Toothless smile, joy written all over it. Then life and learning how to fit in dims the amazement and makes shining our light less spontaneous. But then when we discover something we love that fills us with joy and satisfaction, we want to share what we love. And that's when we plant the seed that will grow into recognition of our life purpose. For me, living on purpose is synonymous with being amazed and being amazing. It's leaving the world better than I found it. You know, there's a lot of leeway in that. Spiritually, morally, emotionally, physically, educationally, any or all of these, and more. The master teacher told us, I am the light of the world. And we can follow that example. Walk, talk, and be in a place of light. You know, being amazing isn't just for trapeze artists and daredevils. I'd like to tell you a story of a young woman who, by society's judgment, was not quite perfect. Elizabeth Bonker has non-speaking autism, the type of autism that severely affects communication abilities. However, in 2022, she gave the commencement speech at Rollins College in Florida as one of 5 graduating valedictorians, and she was heard loud and clear. She used a text-to-speech program to urge her fellow graduates to live a life of service, just like Rollins' most famous graduate, Mr. Rogers. Elizabeth said that because she cannot talk, she is often dismissed and minimalized. And a little aside here, when the principal of her high school was told she was being a valedictorian at Rollins College, his remark was, "That retard couldn't be a valedictorian." Technology opened new opportunities for her to share her amazing brain. And she dreams of living a life in service to others like herself. Approximately 31 million people across the planet with non-speaking autism around the world are locked in silent cages just waiting to share their voices. And she said, "We are called to serve, to see the worth in every person we serve. God gave you a voice." These are her words. "Use it." The irony of a non-speaking autistic encouraging you to use your voice is not lost on me. Because if you can see the worth in me, then you can see the worth in everyone you meet. She closed with a quote from Alan Turing. He was the man who broke the Nazi encryption code that helped bring World War II to an end. And his quote was, "Sometimes it's the people no one imagines anything of who do the things no one can imagine." Be those people, be the light, was her final admonition to her fellow students. Is Elizabeth leaving the world better than she found it? I believe so. She used cutting-edge technology, and doing that, she showed Rollins College, the world, what is possible. She was providing motivation for other disabled young people to move into an active life of service. She was impacting the lives of her contemporaries while changing the world's perception of disability. And what an amazing young person she is. And by being amazing herself, she's a shining example of sharing her passion and living on purpose. What does living on purpose look like? It has many faces, as many faces as there are people. We might see someone we admire sharing their gifts and their passion, and we decide, "Oh, I want to do that too." But if it's not nurturing us, if it's not in the marrow of our bones, we're just copying the talk. We're not walking it. We may be inspired by another and find that we really do have that passion in common. And then we're ready to be amazing. As we study the unity principles, we learn that each of us is a unique and individualized expression of the divine. Do we integrate those words into our beings? Do we literally say, I know who I am? Do we accept it as the truth? You know, we're perfectly acceptable in the eyes of God. How many times have we heard that this morning? In song, in inspiring words. Our parents, our friends, our children, we're always spending time trying to make them love us. Learning to love ourselves can be new. But what I've found is that we must be shining lights for ourselves before we can shine for others. When we can be purposely proactive about taking care of ourselves, it's become natural to extend that caring outward. You know, I'm sure I have many friends who are so tired of hearing me say, you cannot give from an empty well. Fill your own well first. Every time we experience fear, or self-rejection, or guilt, or hate, we're forgetting who we are and to shine our light. My childhood gifts were my ability to sing and to recite poetry. And I had a compassionate, loving heart, which was not quite in alignment with the consciousness of the home in which I was raised. But my gift of light might not work for you. You have your own gift to give. One that no one else can give as well as you can. No one else can give it like you can do it. You know, in a confrontation between a stream and a rock, the stream always wins because it's willing to explore new territory by simply surrendering to the law of gravity. It's willing to flow over and under and around the rock in order to follow its purpose. And its purpose is to be a stream, then a river, and then an ocean, ultimately. So it is with the light and dark places. Darkness is simply the absence of light. The light knows that its purpose is to join with other light to ultimately illuminate the universe. You know, we get to practice light shining here at Unity. The shining faces that greet us at the door, the amazing talent of the musicians, the chaplains that serve and pray, your leaders, Reverend Brian and Chris Gary, the amazing love on that counter of food at the back. There are times when we have the opportunity to extend love and light in the face of hate. And when we shine our own light, like the light of many candles, into the dark face of hatred and ignorance, we provide the power to dissolve all that looks unlike the divine itself. And that reminded me, as I was writing this talk, of some very dear, long-time friends and colleagues of mine. I know I have mentioned this couple once before here at Unity, but I'm particularly drawn to this certain aspect of how they are living their ministry. Reverend Dr. Stephen Albert and Reverend Dr. Abigail Albert moved to San Diego in 2003 and established what ultimately became the All Faith Center. In 2004, they responded to an advertisement in a newspaper requesting help planning the Baha'i World Religion Day, and thus began their movement into the interfaith movement. In 2006, the group decided to combat fear through education by sharing their faiths, and the Poway International Team, Point, was formed. What started with interfaith summer nights, a weekly meeting when each organization shared the philosophy and teachings of their faith, that ultimately blossomed into interfaith dialogues, then interfaith services, which were held at the Dr. Albert's All Faith Center. As their involvement with Point and other local, state, and worldwide interfaith events called them, they withdrew from weekly ministering. And in 2014, they built a labyrinth in their large garden and invited all the faith organizations to a grand opening. People from 17 different religions attended, bringing rocks inscribed with sacred words to extend the labyrinth. Regular labyrinth walks are open to people of all faiths, creeds, colors, gender, nationality, etc., etc., etc. With Point, they are actively involved year-round, creating and co-sponsoring events, bringing issues of racism, spiritual justice, education, and other topics to public attention. They stand with their Muslim and Jewish friends when harm has befallen the mosque and the synagogue. Several years ago, the Shabbat of Poway was attacked by a 19-year-old man who killed one woman, shot off several of the rabbi's fingers, and injured others. Point helped coordinate a prayer vigil and stood vigil around the outside of the synagogue while the members were safe to pray inside. They spoke at a press conference when a mosque was almost burned to the ground. There are times when they have formed human body rings around mosques to let the congregations know they can pray in peace. Now, in response to my question to them, what motivates your decisions? Our motivation to pursue interfaith work is the people and the belief we are all one in this world and are meant to know each other, accept one another, love one another, and get along. We believe this is a part of God's divine plan. We have met so many wonderful people, loving and caring, faiths, ethnicities, who want only to bring peace and harmony among people. We are friends with Muslims, Baha'is, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, Unitarian Universalists, Mormons, Catholics, Protestants, Unification, Jains, Native Americans, Sikhs, Wicca, as well as New Thought. That includes us. As we work, play, and eat together, we share so many commonalities, and we know the core of all faith is love. How we worship the God of our understanding is individual. Would you agree with me that Abigail and Steve are living amazing lives? Whoops. Imagine the experience of sharing, praying, and singing with people of all faiths. Imagine the experience of encircling a synagogue or a mosque, so those inside know that they're safe. Imagine what it would look like if each one of us, not only in this room, but in this community or in this country, but across the world, would extend the bright light of our own divine being to illuminate the darkness and light the way for each other. Would that not be amazing? Would that not be amazing? What if everyone allowed their light to shine out into the world? What if we all approached each other from a place of luminosity and safety? When enough people can hold this consciousness of light for humanity as a whole, only then will world peace become a reality. Would we not then be living in an amazing world filled with amazing people? You know, what about those of us who are not out front, not in the spotlight? Are we not living on purpose? When we go about our daily lives conscious and aware of our impact on the planet, our beautiful planet, when we're gracious and respectful to those around us, when we stay alert to the qualities of our communications with family and friends, when we're compassionate and caring to all living things, when we're compassionate and caring to ourselves, then we are amazing and we're living with purpose. You could be a member of AA or OA or Al-Anon and be living with purpose, focusing on improving the quality of your life mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Living on purpose doesn't require a spotlight or publicity coverage. You know, Mother Teresa said, not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. One doesn't have to have 2 legs and 2 arms to be amazing. I'm going to leave you with a true story told to me by one of my favorite people, the amazing Dr. Bob Luckin, a beloved Science of Mind minister. And this is the story of Slinger and Jerry. Before being strapped to a bed in a long-term rehabilitation center, Jerry had been an outspoken man who never walked away from a drink or a bar. He spent his days sleeping, his nights in O'Malley's bar. When the fight started, how the fight started is a mystery. But if the nerves in Jerry's spine didn't heal, he'd be a quadriplegic for the rest of his life. There were things he wanted to say, but the fight had taken his voice. Jerry hated cats, rats, and pigeons. They were at the top of his hate list. Everything in the rehab center was run down, worn out, taped together, except Slinger, a 5-year-old, 20-pound coon cat. Slinger picked and chose who he spent time with. Whether it was the spark of hope or of rage in Jerry's eyes, it was a magnet for Slinger. Each day he spent 3 to 4 hours sitting on Jerry's chest. Over time, Jerry's rage turned to acceptance. Then the acceptance turned to love. It took almost 1 year for Jerry to recover. No one asked Jerry to return to the rehab center weekly to help care for other patients, but he did. No one in Jerry's AA group understood why he called Slinger his recovery sponsor, or how Slinger keeps him sober. but he does. Dr. Bob said, "I question not the power of love. I accept it from all sources, since the source of all is God." How could we possibly challenge the fact that Slinger is amazing? Living with great purpose, carefully selecting his clients, persisting in his mission or his course of treatment, however you perceive it. It appears he was divinely guided as he went about his daily work with Jerry and others. What greater way to live an amazing life than to change a life and to influence another to do the same. Namaste.